So what's Paul up to today, huh? I don't even know. I don't even know what I'm up to. I'm gonna get some videos today of northern parts of Chihuahua. We're going down to the government now to get a blood test for me. No idea. I have no idea why. Something like I'm gonna be working for them, and we're gonna open up ranches. They got all these ranches that are empty, like different people that know the doctor, and these different couples that are rich or whatever, and they have these empty ranches all the way from with animals and cows and horses and game animals. I don't know how you have game animals on a ranch, but all the way from northern Chihuahua all the way to Sinaloa. They want to open these up for the addicts and alcoholics, especially in Chihuahua, but the president's involved too, and she wants to open up her own, facilities and stuff with me leading them, I guess. Oh, God, it's crazy. It's crazy. Trust me when I tell you, if you don't understand this, I do not understand this. I'm talking to these people. Yeah, it makes sense that they want to talk to me because I'm pretty good at what I do. I'm pretty good at drug and alcohol, sponsorship. That's for sure. I'm good at getting people enthusiastic about life and sobriety. That's for sure. My guys that I really, really helped, that really wanted help and stuck with me are all sober. That's a plus. They know that. They've seen my testimonials. The reason, I don't think I mentioned this yet, the reason they contacted me from the beginning is because, and Mark will love this one, is because they saw my video on dopamine. When I was talking about dopamine, the rise in dopamine, and how drugs and alcohol have reset the whole dopamine reward system, and which is true. I got it all from Norvocal, right? So they're watching this alcoholic on YouTube in his house, and they said, this is what they said, and they said, and he's brave enough, they said, to talk about dopamine, right? I don't know how that makes me brave, but talk about dopamine. So I can't stop smiling, but it's so bizarre to me. Anyway, so they saw my video on dopamine, and which I'll give you a little, what's going on with dopamine. Well, basically, dopamine is a reward system. We have dopamine when we have three types of instincts, but three types of instincts. And there's dopamine fired off, and it's a reward system. It feels good. Dopamine feels good. Like if you see cake or if you see a hamburger, you get dopamine. If you eat a hamburger, if you see sex, you get a dopamine. If you have sex, you get a dopamine. Right? It's so we procreate and survive as individuals, and we survive as a species. All animals have it. Now, so let's just say I go to work and I'm out mowing the lawn. Right? I don't want to mow the lawn, right? But there's a reward, We have to mow the lawn. We have to take care. We have to shelter, sex. It feels good to go for a run. Even nobody wants to go for a run, but man, it feels good after. That's dopamine. And we need to run because you go back thousands of years, we went hunting and fishing and climbing trees, getting coconuts. Like, it has to feel good to survive, right? And it does. It feels good afterwards anyway, Sex feels good. Eating a steak feels good. And these are all things that we need to survive. Now you introduce dopamine, drugs and alcohol. And what happened is drugs and alcohol have hijacked the whole dopamine reward system. And Norvocal learned this in the 90s. And it was a phenomenon that happened. They figured, when somebody takes drugs and alcohol, like let's just say you take crystal meth, you get 800 units. I think fentanyl is 900 units of dopamine. The average is 100. Like the most you can get normally. Even sugar and flour are 150. They're almost considered a drug by the FDA. So the most you can get, say, is 100 from sex or eating a steak or whatever. Alcohol's 400 dopamine. Okay, crystal meth's 800. What am I missing? Cocaine is 600 dopamine. They learned all that, and then what happened is they realized that there's damage done with the receptors. Okay, the dopamine receptors, and as you use and use and use, they show less and less of a rise of dopamine. So what they did was they analyzed their brains and they did a dopamine scan. They learned how to do this in the 90s. And they looked at the addict's brain and they were expecting this big rise of dopamine. And what they showed was a small little rise of dopamine. But without the drugs and alcohol, there was no dopamine. So they realized that the addict and alcoholic is not using to get high anymore. He's using just to feel somewhat normal. And that's what they discovered. And isn't that the truth? Anybody that's an addict or an alcoholic, we're just using to seem somewhat normal. You take away the drugs and alcohol, and we are depressed, terror, bewilderment, frustration, despair. And dopamine has a lot to do with it. It's like when you use ecstasy, it uses up all the serotonin and stuff. Very similar. Dopamine, drugs and alcohol have reset the whole dopamine reward system, and it basically flushes it all out. Where we don't get any dopamine unless we take a little drug. After we're addicted, after been using a long time. In the beginning, great, it's great. First hit, man, first drink, great. After a while, we're just using it just to feel normal. So I don't want to keep repeating that. Anyway, so they saw that video. And I just got it from Norval because she's on YouTube. And I found it kind of fascinating. It doesn't help. It doesn't help the solution. She doesn't know what the solution is. Dr. Silkworth does not know what the solution is. He treated over 40,000 alcoholics in 10 years, and he never got anybody sober. So they went to the Dalai Lama, and Norval went to the Dalai Lama because they had the solution, they figured. Go to an alcoholic like me, man. You don't have to go to the Dalai Lama in India. Just go to an alcoholic, and we'll tell you what the solution is, man. People are trying to bypass our program all the time. Let's go to the Dalai Lama because no monks drink and use. It's true, right? Who cares? We're addicted to alcohol and drugs. Come to us if you want to know how to stop drugs and alcohol. If you're out there and you're an addict or an alcoholic, come to me. Call me. DM me. It's a simple program. You just got to stick to it. Anyway, video's going too long, but we don't need the Dalai Lama. All we need is a pen and paper and a little big book and somebody to teach us how to stay sober, man. And then put that stuff into action like a math book. Love y'all. Over and out. I'm going to be doing another video later, of course, because I got to see what the heck they got in store for me. First thing I'm doing, blood test. If I don't do a video